everyone, welcome back to Bytes and Babies. It's Tori. I have a question for you. Did you make it through Christmas okay? Did you make it through the holidays? It's okay if you didn't, because I didn't. And let's talk about it. So, this Christmas week, it didn't just break me once. Y'all, it broke me twice. I had 2 full-blown mom meltdowns within a 48-hour span. One was on my day off on December 23rd, and another was on Christmas Eve after I worked all day. So let's get into it. Let's discuss. For those of you who know, and for maybe those of you who don't know, I'm a mom of 2 biological kids, 1 bonus babe. My youngest, Addie, who's 7.5 months old, she's a little bit medically complex. GERD, suspected allergies, you name it, we're dealing with it. So I was dealing with medically complex baby, and of course the usual, complications and emotional taxations that come with that. Trying to create some magic on a budget. Again, for those of you who know, and for those of you who don't know, we're struggling a bit this year. But honestly, out of all of that, what actually sent me over the edge was a chocolate Pop-It in the freezer and bowls and cups and a sink filled of dried paint. Let that sink in. Let it percolate, let it sit in your brain. If you cried in your bathroom or your kitchen this week, then honestly, this video is for you, because same. Let's talk about a holiday emotional hangover, okay? So again, I'm dealing with medically complex baby. We're trying to ball on a budget this year. Again, blended family, trying to figure out how to make magic happen as our second official Christmas, being married and having everyone, together, especially in our own place. I personally was feeling a lot of pressure to make it perfect, just because this year, again, due to some of our financial constraints, there's going to be a lot fewer physical gifts. And for those of you who know me, then one of my love languages, aside from acts of service, is gift giving. I love to give gifts. I don't necessarily like to receive them, but I love to give them. I love to make sure that everyone knows in my own way that they are appreciated and adored and loved. And one of the ways that I like to do that, especially around Christmas, is making sure that everyone has most of, if not everything, within reason that they've asked for or they've wanted for, or they've kind of said that they'd like to have this thing, whether it's a physical item or maybe, like cookies, or I like to try to do that and give it as a gift. I'm a giver. It's one of the ways I love to make people feel loved. And again, feeling a lot of pressure to be able to try to find ways to do that without it being, physical gifts, because of just what's going on with life right now. And so I wanted to try to find ways to be fun, yet calm, cool, and collected. That mom, like the Pinterest mom or the well put together YouTube mom. I wanted to be that. It wasn't that. I wasn't that. I tried. I wasn't that. Let me, again, break it down for you real Barney style here, guys. I was delusional, okay? I was delusional. I thought I could cram weeks worth of prep into one singular day off, and that was December 23rd. I call it my day off lie. I thought I could get everything done. I tried to turn the 23rd, again, because it was like my one day off of work. I tried to turn that into kind of like a pre-holiday, pre-Christmas reset, making sure the house was spotless, trying to get various baked goods in the oven, realizing I didn't have all of the ingredients, and I was like, oh, no problem. We'll push that back. We'll get a Target order going. I'll do other projects while trying to prep for all of the baking and memory making that I was trying to kind of set up for the next day. This is where things started to take a turn. Again, Addie is medically complex. She was very fussy, very pukey, very unhappy, doing anything but being held. So I'm already having to, focus a lot of my energy on the baby that can't talk it's a baby. And Riley, I love her. She is 10. However, she is very, without a plan, very, very self-destructive. And very much, if you leave her to her own devices, things can and will go awry. On Sunday, we'd had a family Christmas party. Drink pause. On Sunday, we'd had a family Christmas party, and she had been given a rock painting kit for a Christmas gift from some of our family members, and decided that she was gonna bust that bad boy out and paint everyone a painted rock. And the painting itself wasn't the problem. The concern I had and shared with her is that, hey, I know you get very enthralled with your stuff. You're not gonna have time to, before going off with grandma, to do all your Christmas shopping and all your preparations that you were having. You're not gonna have time to fully clean up your mess. And I really need the place clean, or relatively clean, so that I can finally start baking. Because again, I didn't have all of my needed flours. I was low on supplies, and so I was waiting for that Target order to come through. Oh yeah, Mom, no worries. It'll be clean. Well, my mother comes to pick her up and it's not clean. Riley forgot to clean up her mess. And so in that chaos of trying to get her out the door, she threw basically the cups, the bowl, the things that had all of her paint in it just into the sink, and then did a quick little wipe of her palette, and also threw all of that, which was still basically covered in paint, in the sink, coating the entire sink in various shades of sterline, yellow, purple, blues, green, red, murky paint water, paint brushes. That was now in the sink on top of all of my dishes that needed to finish being washed and put in the dishwasher as well. So, needless to say, I'm realizing that I'm not getting a break. My day off was not going to be easygoing. I was doing just a lot of unpaid holiday labor, and it felt like everyone else was making a mess around me, not being cognizant of what I was trying to do. So, as a result of that, I lost my shit a little bit. I'm not ashamed of it. I lost it. And honestly, I ended the day then realizing that I was pretty much on empty. And once I got all of the needed materials, I stayed up all night to make my homemade bread and eggnog cinnamon rolls. So I did not get to bed until almost 4:30 in the morning on Christmas Eve. And that leads me to, honestly, again, the second mom meltdown, which I am dubbing my Christmas Eve catastrophe. I literally worked all day on Christmas Eve. I had not been able to get that day off for work with my job, but I had been able to get, like I said, the day before off. I worked, again, all day on literally no sleep because I had stayed up all night on the 23rd getting all of my bread and cinnamon rolls, everything made. So again, already there's a lot of stress and exhaustion there, having not slept, and I have to immediately roll into work and then work all day. During this time, my husband worked from, I think it was like 7 to 10:45, and he comes home, which was fine. But again, I'm dealing with a child and a baby by myself and trying to work. Thank God it was Christmas Eve, so it was a very slow day, but still a working day nonetheless. And here's kind of, I guess, where in my mind things started to go downhill. Once again, my precious, sweet, medically complex baby randomly out of nowhere starts spiking a fever. So now we're trying to figure out if we can even make it to Christmas Eve service and dinner with my parents. Riley had already been picked up by my parents around noon, so she had been with them. So again, there was stress on, are we even gonna be able to meet up with everyone and actually have our Christmas Eve dinner? And conversely then, can people come over for Christmas Day if Addie is sick? We catch a lucky break. Addie's fever breaks, she seems fine. So we roll up, we go to church, we make it on time to church, and we have dinner afterwards. And dinner was lovely, except for Addie all of a sudden randomly projectile vomiting twice. Think exorcism style projectile vomiting, back arched, head arched, and just projectile vomiting all over the table and floor at the restaurant. Still unsure of what caused that, but I think it might have been the 2, maybe 3 itty bitty pieces of bread that we let her kind of numb on. There will be more discussion on that as we have now a follow-up appointment with the allergist. And so that's already a lot, because now we're trying to get through Christmas Eve dinner with a baby that's starting to get very fussy, very uncomfortable, very just unhappy. We get home. It's time to quickly make the frosting for my cinnamon rolls, because I was so tired earlier, literally, that morning, because it was 4:30 when I kind of rolled into bed for like an hour of sleep, that I didn't make my frosting. And so Riley, wanting to help, which was great, starts helping me pull out the powdered sugar, the cream cheese, the butter, the things that I need for this frosting. However, unbeknownst to me, because of the paint catastrophe from the other day, the bowl that I needed to mix everything and still is actually, there's still a bunch of paint in it, but I didn't realize it at the time. And also my cream cheese and butter was not fully softened when it was just schlepped into the bowl, and everything was getting thrown on top of it, and we're starting to mix and try to make this frosting. So it's getting ridiculously late. And we just realized we have to send Riley to bed, because Santa's coming. We need to do what we need to do. And I'm starting to again feel very pent up, very emotionally drained, very upset that what I thought was going to be a picture perfect Christmas Eve just wasn't those things. And I'm realizing that the frosting really isn't mixing, because the cream cheese, the butter, and everything else is still too hard. So I have to wait for it to soften more before I can actually get it mixed. To top all of it off, we are checking the freezer, and we all of a sudden realize that Riley's Poppet with her chocolate, trying to make a chocolate bar, or whatever it was she was trying to do, wasn't frozen. It was just globs of chocolate oozing out of a Poppet at this point in our freezer. So honestly, it wasn't that it was honestly about one specific thing, like the chocolate or the bowl or the frosting not being made. It was the feeling that I had been used and unheard, especially by people that, what's the right word? It's definitely, like I said, feelings of being used and unheard. And I guess there's really nothing else, other than that. It was just this feeling of overwhelming, maybe disappointment, that I felt at this point like a servant to the holiday and not necessarily a participant, that everything was just kind of, the work I was putting in was going almost unnoticed. And now that I think about it, like really sit within myself, because this is a few days later, and think about it. I was just trying to carry the weight, physical and emotional weight of what I felt like was everyone else's happiness, or mostly I think the kids' happiness, because my husband's a grown man and he knows how to make his own happy, right? And I think I was overcompensating. I was trying to make up for a lot of the budget and stress that we've been kind of under by definitely just doing too much. Not giving myself enough time to rest and take it easy and kind of relish in what was going on and really make a normal workload for myself. And honestly, there was like no refill to my own emotional cup. I was pouring, what they say is you can't pour into another's cup if yours is empty. That's literally what I was doing. My emotional cup there was nothing. And I was trying to pour nothing into something to make something. And there just wasn't anything more to give or anything left to give or really anything to give. And honestly, it was a situation that I think eventually became unavoidable. The meltdowns were gonna happen. So I've thought about it. I've spoken to my therapist about it, and I've kind of recognized that there's, I think, a good solid plan or an action plan. I think, for next holiday season, what can I do better as a person to prevent this or hope that doesn't happen again? No promises. But I think next year I'm going to take a real day off. No last minute cleaning, no prepping, no trying to cram very laborious projects into one day. I'm going to try to find more time to space these holiday preparations out throughout the holiday season, so that not everything comes crashing down into one 24-hour period. And honestly, I might just even lower the bar. You know, store-bought cinnamon rolls might be okay. Store-bought bread might work in a pinch. You know, it should be fine. There might, it might feel for me personally like there's less magic, but in the long run, there's going to be more sanity, and better expectation. And honestly, I'm going to start asking for help, preferably before I snap and lose my shit, but we'll see. And I think that hopefully will make the holidays go smoother and better and prevent any more meltdowns. So, in closing, friends, if you too had a meltdown, just remember, you aren't a bad mom. You're a tired human. Let's do better for ourselves in January. And, it's okay. It's okay. Anyway, if you liked what you heard and saw, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you around in the next one. Bye, guys.